Hello everyone, thank you for watching Edupedia World videos. In our daily monitoring part 4, today again we are going to see a couple of transactions which are part of daily monitoring. So the first one we start with is in this video is DB02. It is the database size statistics transaction. Transaction code DB02 is used to analyze and monitor database statistics, that is the database growth, table space size, missing indexes, etc. So this DB02 is a database related transaction used in SAP. So irrelevant of the underlying database, whatever transactions we have, previously we have seen STO4N, that is the database monitor. So see the screen might differ a little bit. Okay, say for Oracle it is little bit different, for DB2 it might be little bit different. Okay, but the basic things which are required, say here we want to know the database growth, the size, etc. So this information will be presented. Okay, so even though the presentation will be different slightly for different databases, but whatever information which is required to monitor the sizes or whatever database parameters, it's the same. So DB02 is used to analyze and monitor database statistics. Check the table space size. See here, when you run the screen, this is for Oracle, this is how the screen is presented. Refresh. Okay, probably you need to refresh the stats, otherwise the old stats will be displayed. Okay, these are the checks. Then the space statistics, the current sizes, check space statistics, then the free space statistics. This is for the table spaces. In Oracle, being an SAP basis administrator, we should have the basic knowledge of the underlying database also. So what I am covering in this video, it is for the SAP basis who are learning SAP. Okay, but you need to have at least minimum knowledge of the underlying database, like what is a table, index, and table space. Okay, so probably you can go and refer them. What are these terms, if somebody is not aware, like in Oracle what is a table spaces or a table or an indexes, probably please go and refer them. In the you can find them on the web. So many informations like will be provided with good examples. Okay, so table space is nothing but everything in in a relational database management system is in form of tables and indexes. Okay, and a table space is nothing but it's a logical space entity in a Oracle database. Okay, or in any other database also. Okay, so it's nothing but when an SAP system is installed, different table spaces are created. Okay, so each table space will have different tables, and one table it can be like in DB2, a table can be partitioned across different table spaces. That is completely different, but generally, like a table space will have a number of tables and indexes. It's a logical entity, and the actual files, the physical files, a table space can be it contains n number of database files, data files. Okay, so table space is nothing but it's a logical name which is created for the database. Okay, so if we see a table, we talk about like in which table space it's present. The actual physical data file existing in the hardware OS will be something. Okay, but table space is nothing but it's a logical naming. Probably you can go and check in different relevant links and docs. So just go through these terms, know a little bit about database also and OS. Being an SAP basis administrator, the first thing is like you should have not only about SAP system, but you should have some good knowledge, basic knowledge about the database and even the operating system also. Okay, so when the SAP system is generally created, we have 6 table spaces which are created during installation, and further you can extend them to n number of table spaces. So the current size, the the space statistics and the free space statistics, you can check them for the different table spaces. Here SID is nothing but the 3-digit ID of an SAP system. Previously we have studied that an SAP system will have a 3-digit identifier, unique identifier. Okay, so the names of the table spaces in SAP which are created will be PSAP SID. PSAP SID, the kernel version. Kernel is nothing but the actual code software which runs the SAP system. Then PSAP SID, the user directory. You will have a user directory also at the first level. Okay, then PSAP temp, PSAP undo system. Okay, so these, the temp, it maps to the temporary table space in Oracle. Undo maps to the undo table space at Oracle. System is the system table space. Okay, so just even go through like what is a temporary table space and undo table space. Okay, the system. So these things, please go and if you just study them, if you just study the basic architecture of Oracle, you will then understand. Okay, you will get much more, you will be much more convenient. Okay, now so if any of the table spaces is reaching 95% level, it is advisable to increase the size. That's what. Why this monitoring? In this monitoring, what we do, we have to check the sizes of the table space. If it's more than any table space is more than 95%, then you have to increase the size. It is advisable to increase the size. Okay, so that's what you are expected to check here. Check missing indexes. Missing indexes are what? Indexes which are defined in the ABAP dictionary but are missing in the database, or indexes which were created in the database but are unknown to the ABAP dictionary. Now SAP maintains its own data dictionary. Oracle has its own, Oracle or the database has its own database dictionary. Means like what are the different tables, indexes, the structures or whatever objects. Okay, so they have to be defined at the SAP level as well as the database level. Now some can be created in the SAP, some okay, and they are missing in the database. Some might be actually existing in the database but they might be missing in SAP. So there is one more transaction for that, that is SE14, where the missing indexes which are like found in the SAP but not in the database, you can create them through SE11, SE14. Okay, SE11 and SE14 you can check like what are active in ABAP, what are not active in database, and using SE14. SE14 is a T code where you can create those missing indexes which are found in ABAP but not in the database. Now check space critical objects. Space critical objects are objects that become space critical due to lack of insufficient free space in table space. Now logically, like a table space has n number of tables, indexes, structures and everything. Okay, now I want to extend a table. Right, now a table space is actually mapped to n number of data files at the hardware level. Now if my table is growing so much, okay, the table space it exceeds, like it will if auto extend is off or something, you can keep auto extend on. In that case also, like if the data files are all full, then you will reach a cap level, and the table state that you will not be able to add more, do any operation on the table. That table space will be hung and the entire database will throw different errors. It is very critical problem. Okay, so you should be always careful that you have to check like the table spaces are having adequate space at the OS level or not. And space critical objects, once they become actually space critical due to lack of insufficient free space and table space. Okay, so here see, now in the table space we have seen the total number of table spaces are 14. The total size of them is this much. The total free size is this much. Okay, so the minimum free is expected to be this much. The auto extensible are like table spaces. Like auto extend is a property where you can set for the table spaces. Okay, it can be on or off. So here in the system it's like off. Okay, now coming to the tables and indexes, you have these many tables, these many indexes. Okay, then this total size is not displayed correctly here. More than one extent. Okay, extent is again a term in Oracle. A table space has n number of extents. Okay, so these terms, like, please go and refer the Oracle documentation. Okay, table space and extents are logical terms. Okay, so then the missing in the database are none. Missing in R3, that is the ABAP dictionary, 14 tables are missing in the ABAP dictionary, and 1 index is missing. So they are existing in the database, but they are not existing in the R3 dictionary. So when you find these things, just blindly don't go and do some investigation and create. To know like why it is missing. See, missing in created in ABAP database, missing in ABAP dictionary, missing in database is very critical. Okay, SAP wants that, but it's not there in the database, so it's useless. So you have to go and create it in the database. But in this case, like, it's there in the database, but it's not there in SAP. Why? Maybe SAP doesn't, because database is underlying one. SAP is on the top. Without database, there is no SAP. But database will operate on its own without SAP, right? So that's why, like, if you find anything present in database and missing in SAP, just first try to find out like why is that, and if it's required, then only create it in SAP. But if you find any certain objects like in SAP but not in database, okay, that's actually very critical. You have to immediately investigate like why it is so. Okay, probably like if some errors are there, then you have to go and immediately through SE14 you have to create it in the database. Okay, so the next screen also, here we see missing in the database, missing in the ABAP dictionary, the space critical objects. Okay, if you click the space critical objects, even SAP also initially gives you that information like, see, these objects are missing, please go and immediately create them, or it will tell like see, these are the space critical objects that sooner they will be reaching out of space, please add more space at the worst level, like that. Okay, then if you check this table space, this current sizes, space statistics or something in the table spaces, you will get like this, that these are the table spaces name, ERP SAP, whatever it is, the size, the free, it's the used. Okay, how many tables and indexes it's having, how many extents it's having. Okay, then auto extend, like how much, like it will auto extend itself, the used percentage, then the status. A table space should be online, okay, and backup is not active, like that. Okay, then these database performance, like tables and indexes, like missing indexes in the database, none. Unknown indexes in ABAP dictionary, none. Optional indexes, like too many, or like regarding indexes, like in the screen. Okay, if you check missing indexes, if you check space critical objects, it will display like there are no critical tables or indexes. Then if you check missing indexes, it will give these values. Then detailed analysis for a table and an index, you can find out like different properties. Okay, every database has its own type of properties. Okay, so it will show you like how much space that table is or index is having, how much it's like used. Okay, these extents information, okay, and like rows, everything, all the stats information, like all the properties of tables and indexes you can check here in detailed analysis. In these three you can check about the table space. Okay, first you have to refresh it. When you run DB02, please first refresh that screen, otherwise it will show you old information. So once you refresh, the latest information is fetched from the database and displayed here. Okay, so DB02 gives information about database size statistics of the underlying database in the SAP system. Okay, so this is all about DB02. This is very important transaction, and especially for space you have to monitor it every day compulsorily. Okay, and sometimes like when the like probably we'll have year end, or at times when the demand is high, system has to be up all the time, then probably you need more frequent checks of these things, like whenever the usage is very high. See, financial year end closing for banks and everything, the usage is very high. Okay, even they work till late night, so then the system also will get more load. Okay, if it's once it's getting more load, all the tables and indexes are expanding, or some loading is happening, something. In that case, they immediately grow. Maybe yesterday you have checked and today it's ran out of space. That shouldn't be there. And probably, like, later I'll tell you, like, there is some, we can set up some alerts also, okay, for every system. So if suddenly, like, you're checking for every 4 hours and in the middle something happened, you'll get an alert. Auto alerts are also produced. So even those kinds of setup also has to be done in an SAP system. Okay, but when you do a manual check, you have to go to DB02, you have to refresh it and see about the spaces and the critical objects and the missing ones. Okay, and if required, add more space. And even for tuning also, maybe it's not becoming critical, but yesterday it was 30% used, last month now this is 40, next month it is 70. So see, like, why so much data is increasing frequently, all such things. Okay, now the next one is DB12, that is database backups. Transaction code DB12 is used to collect and present information that is necessary to monitor database backups. It is an important source of information for the database administrator, who has the task of supervising the execution of a defined backup strategy. Now, database backups are monitored from DB12. It shows you about the database backup information. Okay, now every database, okay, like actually every day they back up the database. Okay, if something suddenly happens and the database crashes, then the company it will go into losses. So it will in tapes or something like through other mechanisms, every day they take a backup of the system. Okay, and that backup is stored. So if some fault happens, then they will restore that backup. Okay, it is not sufficient just to schedule backups. You must also check on a regular basis that the backups are performed successfully. So generally there will be a different team, or even SAP admin does to do all these backups. Okay, if for any reason the scheduled backups are not performed successfully, this could result in data loss. So simply, like, scheduling backups and leaving them is not sufficient. Okay, you have to monitor the backups also, whether the backups are running properly or not. Here, the first one is the last day's backup, the database backups, the last successful backup, and the overview of the database backups. So this shows, like, when was the last backup successful. It should be like latest, like yesterday or today, for production databases. Okay, maybe for development, quality, demo systems, training systems, that's okay, because some data loss is accepted and it will not create any business impact. But for production systems where end users are using, you should have the latest backup, like everyday backup should be running. Okay, and here you can see the overview of database backups. So the last database backups, it shows like the table spaces that were saved, the log files that were active during the backup, time when the backup was made, the machine on which backup was performed. So again, these are some terms in database, like log files. Okay, so that's why I'm telling, like, simultaneously please refer to some database documentation like Oracle or DB2, so that you'll get a basic knowledge of these terms, like what is a table space and log file is. So Oracle, if like any changes are made to the database, every transaction, the database transaction, it's recorded in one file at the database level, that's known as the log file. Okay, Oracle maintains that for its own purpose, to maintain consistency. Okay, say like some database transactions went and that it failed at the end, so it has to roll back all of them to maintain that data consistency. Okay, so all those update information, the changes to the database, each and everything is recorded in this log file. So when a backup is running, okay, so say like now it started at 12 o'clock, the backup started. Okay, so at 12 o'clock, what is the snapshot of the database? Only that will be backed up. See, the backup has run for 1 hour from 12 to 1. Okay, so in between 12 to 1, still the some operations are going on the database and some changes are happening. So those all informations will be created on that log file. So whenever you are restoring that backup, okay, you have to restore that backed up data, plus you have to even like apply all these changes again also. So okay, during whatever has happened during that backup. Okay, so that's why this log files like that were active like during that backup, and time when it was made, and machine on which the backup was performed, like onto which machine this backup is stored. Then the next one is all database backups. The displayed list like overview of database backups shows all database backups that were performed in the past. It includes offline backups that cannot be called from R3. Again, offline backup and online backup means a production system is always running. Okay, online means when the system is up, the backup is taken, is known as online. Offline means you bring the system down and then take a backup. Okay, now you can also check for the redo log backups. Here you can check the redo log files, whatever I have told. In there you can find the archiving directory status. Again, archiving directory, overview of redo logs. In the overview of redo log backups, check the last database backup and remark the start and end time and verify backup is completed successfully or not. Here, now again, archiving directory. Now Oracle, as I told, it will make some changes. Okay, and those changes are recorded in the redo logs. Now even these log files are stored like Oracle has say like only a limited set of logs, so it will start writing one log, it will write. Okay, so after the first log is written completely, then it goes on to the second redo log file, it writes it. Okay, so on, like say like we have 10 redo log files. So once all the 10 redo log files are written, so it comes to the first one and starts overwriting the first one. Okay, because these redo log files which are present in the database are overwritten, so once a log has been completely written, the database takes care itself of making a copy of it, okay, to a different location, and that location is known as the archive logs. Okay, so these archive logs are not overwritten. The redo log files are overwritten, but the archive logs will be generated like 1, 2, 3, 4 till like they'll keep on growing as and when the the database grows. And all these archive log files are also, so the location in which those files are kept is known as the archive directory at the OS level, and even these archive log files are also again backed up. Okay, say like I have allocated some 100 GB to my archive, it's very, some 10 GB or say 100 GB to my archive log files in very huge databases, like okay, they allocate like 50 GB like that. Okay, so once that 50 GB Oracle or whatever the database it keeps on generating these archive log files. So once it has reached that threshold, then even that archive log files will also become, the directory will become full. Now what happens? Oracle will again try to generate an archive log file, but however, due to lack of space at the OS level, it will not able to create a new log file. Then what will happen? Then the system will halt, which is very dangerous condition. So we have to take a copy, backup of these archive logs. Okay, and once a second copy is taken or whatever, depending upon the backup strategy, the old archive log files are deleted in the directory. Okay, so here we have to check even that archive directory status, the overview of redo log files, and the redo log backups. Okay, so here it's showing like not yet backed up. So like 149 logs are still yet to be backed up from that archive log directory. Okay, so this is about database backups. So database backups, it collects all the necessary information regarding database. DB12 collects all the necessary information regarding database backups. So scheduling is not sufficient. You have to monitor those backups, and we have to take care whether the backups are running properly or not. If the backup has failed, okay, because of some storage issue or some any issue, then you have to work with those teams, the storage team, or if there is a separate database team, then you have to notify them, work with them, and get the issue fixed. Because for a production system, the backup of the database and this archive logs is very important. Okay, someday a crash has happened. Okay, so then backup plays an important role. Data will be brought from the backup and it will be restored in the database. Okay, and these archive logs might be applied till what point of time we want, or whatever we want, till how like the complete the entire duration of the backup is running, we can apply all those archive logs, or till a certain point in time also you can get those archive logs and apply them. Okay, so for restoration, backups should be happening on a production system every day. It's very critical. Okay, so that's why like companies, they spend huge amount for this backup and backup procedures also, for good backup plan, because in production the data is so critical that we need to have very minimal loss of data for production systems. Okay, so say like especially these this banking and the very critical ones. Okay, otherwise it will they'll see huge losses in their business. So that's why even development, quality and other systems are also backed up, but not every day. Okay, maybe weekly once or something, but for a production system, daily the backups are they should be running. And in general, the database backup runs every day. However, this redo log files, archive log directories, archive log file backups run more frequently, say for every 4 hours or 5 hours. Okay, because if that archive log is full, then database will halt, because the database system will not be able to the redo log file which is created is it will not be able to create a new archive log file, so that the system will hang. Okay, so that's the importance of backup. So in this topic, okay, we have discussed about 2 very important database transactions. Okay, the first one is DB02. Here the important ones is like you have to check about the free space in the different table spaces. Okay, and you have to check the space critical objects. So if you are seeing any shortage of space, like if the table space is reaching like 95% or 90% above whatever threshold, then you have to physically add files to the database. Okay, and the other one is like missing indexes, like indexes can be missing in the database or the ABAP dictionary either. Okay, so you have to create them, you have to check them, analyze and create wherever required, because database, dictionary and the SAP R3 ABAP dictionary, they should be in sync. Now, so that's about DB02. It gives about the size statistics of the database. Okay, then we have checked about DB12. So this is about the backups which are happening in the production system or whatever system it is. Okay, so here you have to take care about the database backup as well as the redo log, the archive log directory backup, which is very important. And whenever backup has failed because of some reason, you have to get it fixed immediately and see that the backups are again resumed. Okay, so otherwise it will cause various issues when there is a problem and recovery is to be done. Okay, so in general, like database related transactions, how many we have discussed? We have discussed about STO4. Okay, the entire database monitor transaction, which is very useful in performance tuning and troubleshooting of various database issues. Then DB02. Okay, DB02, the database size statistics. Okay, and this one is DB12. Okay, and we have to make sure that you refresh these screens every time whenever you run these database related transactions, because if you don't refresh the DB02, you'll see like the old data. So once you refresh it, then you will be able to see the latest information, be it STO4 or anything. You have to especially for these any transaction, but it's better to refresh the transaction to see the current data. Okay, so with this we are ending this video. In next video we'll again discuss about some more transactions, few more transactions which are left in daily monitoring. Thank you.